FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. Today is March 21st, 2017. And, well, if you got to see the hearings yesterday, even if you didn't miss much. I mean, Congress is probably the lowest form of theater. If you picture a Broadway show that closes after the first night, then Congress comes in somewhere below that. It really is pathetic, the hearings that take place. I'm talking about the hearings on the Russia-Trump links, the Trump allegations that he was wiretapped, in quotes. Well, someone who knows a lot about all that is Bix Weir, our good friend. Bix, welcome back.
Hey, thanks, Kerry. Nice to be with you.
Always. So, hey, your theory, Trump is preparing for the collapse, and every day that goes by, his administration becomes more entrenched. And the more entrenched he becomes, the more panicked it seems that the elite criminal class becomes. Do I have that right?
You have that exactly right. And it's funny watching those hearings about Russia and listening to the congressman. I mean, they just sound so foolish now, the lies and the bizarre things that come out of their mouth. And the funny thing is, here's the funny thing I've been talking to friends about lately, is that they aren't saying anything different than they've always said. It's that we're waking up to it now. That is the startling part of it. And they've always just been mouthpieces, and they're supposed to write the laws of the United States, but they don't even read the laws of the United States. The laws are written by some third party who shall be named later. The whole Trump takedown is still in process. It's tough for him to root out all these bad guys out of the administration. They've been in there so long, but it's clear that it's happening, and it's a great thing for humanity. I think the next big roadblock he needs to get over is getting his Supreme Court justice in there, Gorsuch. I think after that, it clears a way for a lot of things to transpire, such as the takedown of, the pedophile situation, the revelations that Obama really was not necessarily wiretapping, let's say surveilling Trump during the election and before, the Hillary Clinton fraud at the Global Clinton Initiative. You can just go down the line. Interesting thing, I saw that Uma Abedin was at Disneyland yesterday.
Really?
And she, I don't know why she hasn't gone back to Saudi Arabia, because she's knee deep in this stuff. Most likely the FBI won't let her leave the country yet. It's really interesting what's going on now.
She's in Disney. That's about the funniest thing I've ever heard. I guess, I saw a rumor that Anthony Weiner was in witness protection now. I don't believe it, but it sure is a great story.
Oh, I think he would be. I think definitely he was it was his laptop, theoretically, that all this stuff was discovered on. If they can take out Weiner, take out Abedin, and then destroy the tapes and the videotapes and the audio tapes and all the emails. But I think they're just too widely distributed now within the Justice Department for that to happen. So we're just waiting on the revelations. And they might even come out of WikiLeaks instead of the Trump administration, only because of the animosity between Trump and Clinton.
Yeah. And look, the funniest thing is NYPD has them too. So if the NYPD has them, then God only knows where they are.
Oh, they're all there. I mean, they're not getting lost. There's dozens of copies all around the good guys, as I call them, the people who are trying to take down the bad guys, the entrenched deep state in the United States. They have the goods. They also have the wiretapping information. They also have the Obama birth certificate information. It's going to be really interesting, because right now we have a country that's kind of half split. They either hate Trump or they like Trump, but when all this information comes out that Trump was telling the truth the whole time about all these issues that are so controversial to the left, you're going to have 99% of the population loving Trump and thanking him for freeing us from these criminals.
Yeah, you really think it's going to come out, huh?
It has to. It has to come out. Yeah, the Trump truth bombs are coming.
Hey, well, I wonder why he's waiting. Is he waiting for exactly the right moment? Or
I think, there's two. Well, a few things. One, when this stuff comes out, everything falls apart. It's a third of Congress supposedly is implicated in the pedophile situation. So you really do have a constitutional crisis when you literally remove a third of Congress immediately. You got the banking system that will implode overnight when this stuff comes out, because they're also going to stop the market rigging. And to stop the market rigging, because you can't expose all the crimes and leave the biggest crime of all, the market rigging. Maybe not the biggest, but one of the most important, the market rigging, unexposed. So it's going to be a full truth dump. Trump is waiting to take some of these entrenched people out of the administration, and two, to get the right people in the right places. I think Gorsuch is a big hurdle to get him on the Supreme Court. But will the Supreme Court even have any power at all when the system falls apart? And how many Supreme Court justices were involved in either covering up the pedophile stuff or other crimes, and how many are actually involved in the pedophile stuff? So, it's getting really to that crunch point. And again, I go back to Trump wants things to crash early rather than later. He doesn't want to fix half the stuff and then have the system fall apart. He'd rather crash it now and then move on from there.
Hey, well, I'm just in shock that so much has come out, and so many people on YouTube have been shut down. So many websites have been shut down, and yet we still see the more and more keeps coming out. And I mean, the hearings yesterday with Comey, what is your take on this guy? I mean, whose side is he on besides his own?
Well, it's hard to tell which side anybody is on. I can guarantee you that Comey can't cover up anything anymore. If he probably was covering up a lot. And the only reason Trump would leave him there are basically two reasons. One, he trusts him on the inside scoop. To the left would believe Comey. They wouldn't believe somebody that Trump had put as the head of the FBI, because Comey was appointed. I think he was appointed by Obama, right?
Yeah.
As head of the FBI. So it's kind of hard for the left and the massive liberal side to embrace what a Trump candidate would do, but an Obama candidate put in charge of. And that's why they keep saying, "Oh yes, it's beyond reproach. The FBI conclusions. These aren't political people. Of course, they're political. They're massively political.
They're in Washington. They're political."
Yeah, but it could be also that Trump's knowing that he's going to have to fire probably half of his administration, and you got to have fall guys out there to take out. Comey might be one of them. I believe Steve Mnuchin will be one of them, the Goldman Sachs computer rigger that is now our Treasury Secretary. And and when the stuff falls down, Trump is going to be in charge of the reorganization of the United States bankruptcy, the global bankruptcy, really.
Yeah. So there's going to be a pretty chaotic time. So is Bitcoin going to disappear, or is Bitcoin going to become the reserve currency?
I would say somewhere in the middle. No, well, not the middle on disappeared. Bitcoin's going nowhere. There's millions of people who are participating in it now. It doesn't need the system to stay together for Bitcoin to continue. So Bitcoin, it'll be around. I think the central banks and the governments of the world will fight the full implementation, but there will be people implementing it. Like China has huge plans for Bitcoin for their population. That's 1.2 billion people that are going to be going on to Bitcoin. And then the rest of the countries will follow when they see how well a Bitcoin based system works.
I actually have a little bit of insider information on the Federal Reserve and blockchain technology. So they're
let's hear it. What's your inside information?
So this is coming third hand. So second hand, a good friend of mine, friends with a person in the Federal Reserve who's actually responsible for blockchain technology. And they're working very closely with our so-called allies in Europe on the technology now. Okay. I don't have the exact details, but they're acutely aware of it. And I think it means that probably blockchain currencies are the future.
I would agree with that to an extent. I think if you're going to use the blockchain, you might as well use Bitcoin, because without Bitcoin, you don't have the blockchain. And I mean, the technology type of, will they try to create a Federal Reserve blockchain.
Yeah, that's
Bitcoin.
what I'm thinking here.
I don't think so at all, because the key to the blockchain technology is decentralized control.
Mm-hmm.
And the key to the Federal Reserve System is centralized control. So they're exact big opposites. It takes a lot of trust.
totally aware of that. However, I think they're getting to the point, they know that China's doing it now. And like I say, this person is responsible for all this. Okay?
Yeah, I believe I believe it's correct, but I don't think they're going to invent a new blockchain. I think they're going to adapt to Bitcoin as a global currency.
Well,
and that's, the Federal Reserve, I believe, and this is my own belief, this is the deep side of the hidden technology.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Alan Greenspan was intensely involved in the creation of Bitcoin for a few reasons. One, he's the world's oldest computer programmer, the best computer programmer in the history of the world that people don't even know about. He invented the electronic asset. So was he involved in the creation of Bitcoin when he left the Fed and then didn't say a word from 2006 to 2008 or 9? In 2009, Bitcoin comes out and Greenspan says we need to go back to gold.
I wonder, but
I know he was involved in some way. We already know the CIA was involved.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I know this is factual. We know for sure that they are working on it now. They are.
Yes.
And they're very, very involved in it.
And there's no laws that have been passed that are anti-Bitcoin in the United States. As a matter of fact, it's exactly the opposite in China. They're cleaning up the exchanges so that they can move on to a Bitcoin type of currency system.
Yeah. So we know that they're doing it. There's not a question. I know this information 100% correct. I got it from the most credible person I know. Anything he tells me, I know is true. So they're heavily involved in it. Heavily. So it's just interesting. So we're going to have to see what's going to happen, whether each country does their own or they just buy into Bitcoin. The interesting thing is that Bitcoin stops being a speculative investment at that point. Bitcoin becomes a true money, effectively, although it has no independent value like gold.
Okay. Wait. That's a slippery slope. What gives gold value?
Well, of course, but it's a separate commodity that you can do stuff with. You can make jewelry, got electronic uses. Bitcoin itself, it has no corporeal existence. You can do so much more with Bitcoin
than you can do gold.
Yeah, but it has
look at the blockchain.
But it has no corporeal existence. Okay. But the blockchain is going to become prevalent in everything where you need security and you want audit trails and to avoid any tampering, et cetera.
How about voting tampering?
Yeah. Be great for voting.
You can use the blockchain to make honest elections. Can you imagine that? No more computer rigging of the election process?
Yeah, for sure. So, but the technology, we'll say, but the idea of a Bitcoin having no physical reality.
I have a Bitcoin in physical reality.
Yeah.
I have a Bitcoin wallet in my hand right now. It's a piece of paper with my public address and private address on it. That's a physical Bitcoin.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying?
No, there's no buts.
I've had this argument for a long time. It's not like gold. All right. Well, I can make a ring out of gold. What are you going to do with your Bitcoin?
How can you say that? How can you say that Bitcoin's not like gold?
It's not. It just isn't because it doesn't have a physical reality. It isn't a commodity that you can do something else with, which is one of the definitions of money.
Yes, you can. You can do all kinds of things with Bitcoin. And we just talked about it. Bitcoin is a platform. It's a technology, yes, but you can do massively more things with the Bitcoin and the blockchain than you can with gold.
Well, the traditional definition of money, it doesn't quite comport with it.
Whose definition?
Going back, hundreds of years.
Right. Yes. That is the only argument for gold is that you can go back hundreds of years. It's been used on and off as money. So you can make both arguments. You can say gold has failed as money every single time it was introduced, and then people return to it. Mm-hmm. Bitcoin, on the other hand, has never failed as money because it hasn't been money. It's only been around for 9 years.
Yeah, this is true. But, divisibility, it hits
Bitcoin
all of them.
Bitcoin blows gold away on divisibility.
It hits all of them except being a physical commodity.
Wait, that's not we don't have physical commodities as money right now.
I know we don't. And that's why it's not a store of value. Because it's our existing money is not a store of value.
A lot of people would argue that electronic blips are not a store of value, since
right, exactly
99.9% of the population right now stores their value in electronic blips.
Right, and that
these are fun conversations. I don't mean to be controversial.
No, hey, but I totally know where you're coming from. I get it.
I used to argue the same point, and then I woke up to the fact that I was being constrained by an old way of thinking, and I woke up to the fact that the world has changed, and it is continuing to change. Unless you change with it, you're going to be left with all the gold bugs sitting there with an ounce of gold in your hand, saying, "Okay, I'm ready to go back onto a gold standard." When every country in the world is like, "We don't even need a gold standard. We've got Bitcoin. We've got other things we can use now."
Yeah, well, so you think gold will not be money when all is said and done? It won't be a store of value?
Oh, I think it will be. Yeah, I do think gold will be one of the choices, because there's so much gold out there. I mean, there's millions of tons. There's not 180,000 tons. Millions of tons. And the United States has been storing up a lot of gold, and that was their plan, to go back to a gold standard, as the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston documents clearly show. But the world changed when Bitcoin was invented. And you can argue till you're blue in the face whether or not gold or Bitcoin is a better store of value. I mean, clearly Bitcoin's been a better store of value in the past, couple of years.
Right.
It's gone up a whole lot more than gold has gone up.
And it's gone down a lot too.
Well, yeah, right. Yes. Like anything new, it's going to be volatile. It doesn't have 6,000 years of history as money. It's got, maybe 6 or 7 years as history as money. So it will be volatile. But imagine if you were the one who got into gold when gold was first invented as money, and you'd run around and get all the gold you can because you knew in the near future gold was going to be used as money. That's what's going on with Bitcoin right now.
No, I don't disagree with you. Don't get me wrong, but I think there'll always be a place for gold and silver and precious metals. Although I can't see the world going back on a gold standard. I don't think it's going to happen.
I think silver will be way too valuable to be used as money.
Yeah.
It is needed in these new technologies that are coming out. So, yeah, I think silver's way too valuable to be used as money.
So you think Trump's basically just preparing for the collapse and cleaning house?
He's holding off the collapse right now. Yeah. I mean, remember when he was campaigning, he's talking about, oh my God, we're in the biggest bubbles we've ever seen, and he says everything's going to collapse, and now he's just trying to hold it off until he can get people in the right place.
Yeah, so he's holding it off till he gets people in the right place, huh?
Oh, yeah. And see, it's all under control with the computers and derivatives at the basement of the Treasury. So Steve Mnuchin is the guy who's holding everything off. At Trump's orders.
Who would think? Steve Mnuchin. He looks like such a harmless guy.
Oh, he's a dweeb. He's the devil incarnated. That guy is bad news.
Yeah, he seems so harmless.
Well, what's his job? What does he do for a living? He was the head of IT at Goldman Sachs, the head of market rigging. And we all know from Michael Lewis's book and all my research that that's how prices are set on every single market now, is via computer high frequency trading.
Yeah. Well, no doubt that is true. We know that's true. We see it every day. It happens. So what's been happening with the price of gold lately and silver? Still under tight wraps?
Oh, yeah, it has been for at least 40 years.
Yeah.
Suppressed, too. I mean, gold not as much as silver, but silver's been suppressed for so long. And that's what I'm really getting excited about now is the release of silver from manipulation. And nobody knows what a freely traded silver price would be. But I think we'll find out at some point in the near future. So yeah, load up on physical silver right now. I think when this thing starts to fall apart, as Trump wants to do, he wants to take down the system before he rebuilds it. But when it starts falling apart, you won't be able to get your hands on a physical silver or gold, probably.
Really?
But you will be able to buy Bitcoin.
But who knows what that'll cost, right?
Yeah, who knows? It'll take a while for the people to understand the goodness, the greatness of Bitcoin. So I think a lot of people will run to gold and silver first. But that's the key, is when this kind of stuff happens, the sellers are very reluctant to sell at any price. knowing that they're actually the sellers, who the people who know why gold and silver are going up are going to be the ones holding on the tightest. So it'll be the people who don't really understand gold and silver, but kind of know that they need to get their hands on some, that won't be able to get any.
Yeah. That's always the case, right?
Well, this is the first time ever that a unbacked global fiat monetary system is going to implode. So I can't say it's always been the case, because nobody's been through this case.
Always the case that the majority of people are in the wrong place at the wrong time, and then going to basically try to get in the right place, and the rush for the exit, if you will.
Too little, too late.
Yeah, and that's the scary part, right?
Well, the scary part and the part that would free us, because we are not free anymore. There are no free markets. So is it scary that free markets are going to come back into our system at some point? I think it is needed. It's either that or be under the control of these masters of our universe, which are being thrown out. They're all being thrown out right now, which is a great thing.
Yeah. So Timeframe, you got any opinions on that?
It didn't happen today. It might happen tomorrow, but I think definitely, from my analysis of the Fed documents, from my analysis of the latest The World in 2017 Economist magazine cover, I think the turmoil starts in the first half of the year and then is done after the banks collapse, and we kind of rejigger the future by the end of the year. So we'll see. They've been able to hold it off for a long time, but I don't think Trump wants to hold it off. I think he's just wanting to get his people in the right places at the right time to pop the bubbles. And he said it before. That was what he ran on, is that the system was in a bubble. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I guess we will see what happens, Bix. Hey, roadtoruta.com, ROADROOTA.com. And any questions, comments on this interview, any others, send us an email, KL@KerryLutz.com, KL@KerryLutz.com. Twitter feeds @KerryLutz. The Facebook page is Financial Survival Network. Bix, we'll catch up with you in a couple weeks. You be well.
You too.
If you own a small business, it's not a question of if some hacker is going to attempt to attack your company. It's a question of when. Let cyberpolicy.com keep you safe. CyberPolicy is the first end-to-end solution that combines cyber planning, security, and insurance. With CyberPolicy, your business will be protected against cyber attacks for as little as 40 cents a day. Visit cyberpolicy.com today and get a quote in just 4 minutes. cyberpolicy.com. If you own a small business, it's not a question of if some hacker is going to attempt to attack your company. It's a question of when. Let cyberpolicy.com keep you safe. CyberPolicy is the first end-to-end solution that combines cyber planning, security, and insurance. With CyberPolicy, your business will be protected against cyber attacks for as little as 40 cents a day. Visit cyberpolicy.com today and get a quote in just 4 minutes. cyberpolicy.com.
FSN Radio. It's all about what's next. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and sign up for your free weekly newsletter. You'll also get 3 free reports. The Financial Survival Network. It's all about what's next.
If you own a small business, it's not a question of if some hacker is going to attempt to attack your company. It's a question of when. Let cyberpolicy.com keep you safe. CyberPolicy is the first end-to-end solution that combines cyber planning, security, and insurance. With CyberPolicy, your business will be protected against cyber attacks for as little as 40 cents a day. Visit cyberpolicy.com today and get a quote in just 4 minutes. cyberpolicy.com.
I never planned on losing my job, but losing my family's health insurance was an even tougher pill to swallow. So I looked into COBRA, but too pricey. Then I found out about special enrollment through Covered California, where I was able to choose from good health insurance companies I've actually heard of. I even got help paying for it. I had no idea someone was there for me. But Covered California really had my back.
To see if you qualify or to find one of our local experts, visit coveredca.com. Covered California. It's more than just healthcare. It's life care.